Folks, you already know that every time that happens, we're dancing. It's just we're black and there's rhythm. I don't know what to tell you. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of To Be Announced under Subsume Studios. This is your weekly geek culture update special where we're giving you everything from comics to gaming to movies to series to album covers, but not the one for today. So, very stories for you. We're gonna have a really great time. But as always, let's get those introductions out of the way. I am Antonio Pomares of the Hungry Bleak podcast, and joining me as always is
What is up? It is your girl Jabba Chin. What's going on?
and as well. Whoops.
Hey, it's me, Joy Infinity. I'm happy to be here today, and I love Janelle Monáe.
Folks, if you know, you know. I almost did a spit take when I was shown the cover art for the album. I didn't know that was coming. I didn't know. I was
neither of us knew.
No one
wasn't
knew
expecting
but me.
that. I didn't expect it.
Gotta spread the love.
On that note, folks, let's start up with our stories for the week in geek. So, first one up is we are going to talk about Valiant Comics, Valiant Entertainment. If you know comics, you know Valiant Comics. They've been around since I think maybe 2007. Then they took a hiatus. Then they came back. I think maybe 2012. I want to say. As of late, after the pandemic, which we know rocked a lot of companies hard, it really hit the comic book. The bigger companies, let's say, it really hit them really hard. So unfortunately, Valiant Entertainment's had a really hard time trying to come back. So what they've actually started doing is only publishing one book a month. That's not heard of for any comic book company like on that level. You would never hear something of Dark Horse or Image or DC or Boom Comics. You'd never hear them saying Boom Studios, I should say. Excuse me. Never hear them saying that they would be doing one book a month. If you figure you have 10 characters who have 10 titles and you're only going to be doing one of them a month.
Ooh,
that's not
very feasible, truthfully. So recently Valiant Entertainment inked a new deal with a new publishing deal with Alien Books. I'm hoping that this does a lot better. They want to bring more eyes to Valiant. Valiant is an incredible company. They have some of the best characters and characters that you've heard of as well. Maybe one of the biggest ones that you've heard of is Bloodshot. Bloodshot had a movie in 2017, maybe. I want to say where it was Vin Diesel was in it. The reviews were hit and miss, as well as fan reception, but still, it was the fact that they made their movie. They had made a movie, and it was great to do, and I was glad that they did. They have a plethora of characters, from Exo Man of War to Shadow Man, which is one that has been linked to have a project for the longest time. You have Archer and Armstrong. You have Faith, which is a very popular character. He's a plus size superhero character that's part of this young team of Psiots, which is their version of metahumans or mutants. She's one of them. They have Time Walker. They have the Eternal. Eternal Warrior. They have a lot. They have a really great universe. They have Ninjak. So I'm hoping that this deal works out for them and they're able to get more of their books out there because they're really a cool company. I love stuff that they do. Even reading this, maybe want to go back and reread the stuff that they came back with when the movie was in 2020. So 2020, really?
Well, the pandemic kind of overshadowed a lot of things. So
I want to say this movie was before 2020, though. I feel like it was like 2018. Like I want to say, you know what? Like you said, the pandemic kind of ruined time for all of us.
Yeah.
I want to research that. 2020 doesn't feel right for me, but again, I could totally be wrong. But I still got to side eye that. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, hopefully this does them a lot better. It's sad to see the pandemic still having such a stranglehold on so many things that we enjoy and love.
Yeah.
There we go. And next one up is for the Chaba.
Hey,
Run it.
Jabba.
All right. So we just got dropped with a trailer. It's only 30 seconds. We can actually run it for the last and final part of Attack on Titan. It's
Wow.
supposed to be coming out in the fall. And for people that are usually good with the anime scheduling, usually the fall doesn't mean our September through October, November type of thing. It could be end of November, early December, because that's just how they run it. I'm hoping it comes out at least October so I can finally get done and over with this anime, because right now it's all top tier. Look, the anime has been out since 2013, all right? It's been over 10 years, and they've been breaking up the last season in like multiple parts, which is kind of annoying for me. Like, they are milking the crap out of this.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm excited. And from my knowledge, since I already read the manga, they should only have like 10 more chapters left. And if they're going to be doing a special like they did for the first half, which came out earlier this year, it was only like 90 minutes. So I don't even know if this is going to be a 90-minute special, because it just said special
Okay.
for the last season. So I don't know if it's going to be 90 minutes, an hour, 2 hours. What? There's been so many rumors going on, but I'm excited. Like, even look at the detail of Levi's eyeball right there. Like that.
Oh, that's
That right
Levi?
there. Yep, that's Levi. Like, that is beautiful. I'm excited. And I'm ready for my friends to blow up my phone because they're going to be all distraught because of how the ending's supposed to be.
Oh.
Just saying.
It's wild to think it's been 10 years.
Yeah. 10 years with only four seasons, at least I think like 3 OVAs, and then 2 bad live adaptations. I do not recommend those.
There were 2?
Yeah.
Oh. I thought they only did 1. I didn't realize they did 2. Oh.
Would it be faster to read the manga and
Yes.
then? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Because the manga's been finished for like 2 years now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I stopped. So when this did come out, I did watch it, but I only watched 10 episodes of the first season, and then I stopped.
If you have the expansion, you're better off reading the entire manga before the show even comes out, before even the last part comes out.
Okay.
So you have a better time reading it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll check this in the library.
But you can read it. I mean, it's also, I think the whole series is up on Hulu as well as.
Yeah. It's on Hulu, Funimation. Netflix only has like season 1 still.
Yeah.
So it's not even worth it. It's only 139 chapters. So it's not even that long of a manga either.
Compared to some of our faves. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, they do have some on the library. So I could probably just either borrow those or just straight up, I'll find it somewhere and I'll just read it.
Yeah.
If you can't get it at the library, check Comixology, because when this comes out, they'll probably have a banging sale for it on Comixology, because they're really good with their manga sales too. Whenever there's an event that's going to be coming out, whether it's a movie or a series is about to come out, check Comixology on Tuesdays.
Ooh,
They'll have, that's when their sales start, and they'll have whatever. Like when Flash came out, they had a Flash sale. When Moon Knight came out, they had a Moon. They'll always have something that corresponds to it. But no matter what, you will be able to take, to take and read it all.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still if part of this is still part of the app, but there is. Crunchyroll did have like its own separate app for mangas in general.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. So I think mobile wise, that's how I was able to read some of the mangas that are not like that are easy to find, and one they don't like spam your phone where it's like, oh, you just got hacked or whatever. Like, it's through Crunchyroll. You can actually go through and read everything, but like without having to worry about like those random spammy ads where like you won like $1,000 or whatever. So click here, which is always a pain in the butt. But I think if you download Crunchyroll manga, I might have the verbiage wrong, through the phone, whether it be like Android or Apple, you should be able to read everything. And I think since Attack on Titan's already been out and finished, you don't have to worry about being like a premium member. It's like read like the latest one right then and there, because you like wait like a week afterwards for the or wait for like the newest manga to be considered like free to read for the other ones.
Checking right now.
Obviously, the app is free, because know me, not that free life.
Yep, Crunchyroll manga, which I feel like I've had before, but on my other devices.
So yeah, so and also even if you have a Crunchyroll was it membership, like the to log in, it'll kind of pick you up where you left off at from your previous like reads, which is always good.
Ooh.
So at least that way you want to like feel about like starting like all the way back over or forgetting where you left off at, where it's like, oh well, this is what you last read, and this is what you need to continue with.
Okay.
Mm,
Thank you.
nice.
See, look, we're getting
I
that good,
tried.
good info.
Awesome.
That
I
good,
will
good.
be watching it on Hulu because I have too much to read, and yeah, I'll just be watching because I like watching the animation of it. Is just beautiful. That's Mappa, right? Is the studio? I want to say
Yes.
they
Yeah, it's
do just
mapping now
incredible
because
work.
they were because first it was Wit that was the like the first two seasons, and then
hmm
Mappa took over.
Mappa
But
is
Mappa
absurd.
is just milking the crap out of this. I'm
Uh,
like, listen, y'all need to hurry up and just place the
but
episodes out.
notice a lot of shows and movies. I'm looking at you, Vin Diesel, and your Fast Furious movies are milking the end of stuff. They're making it like 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like just
Part
Yeah.
4, part
they're trying to
5.
milk everything as much, and it's like it. And they know that they got you. They're like, well, I gotta watch to the end now because, but it's not the end because it's 3 parts. So just say it's just stop. Anyway, our next just annoy, just just rip the band-aid off, folks. Seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Our next story is for the joyous one.
Hey. So, have you ever dreamed about having a video game store? Would you actually want one? Like for real? If you had $1 million. So there's a man in California who is straight up, he put an ad on Craigslist. He's like, look, I'm finna retire. I have 20,000 games and a big giant Mario. Do you want this or not? And if you're Elon Musk, 1.5 million. I'm like, how? Well, you know what? He threw a shot out there. I'm glad, but his name is Dave, so Dave's Retro Games. And to me, I'm like, oh my god, I would love to visit the store. I don't know about owning it, but I would love to visit, see what games he has. I love to, comb through different retro places because I do want to own. There's certain games I've always heard of, and I'm like, oh, if I have my backwards compatible PS3, I can play PS1, PS2, PS3 games, and I love my PSP, and there's certain things that I want to live in that nostalgia again. But I don't know about buying the whole gosh darn store. But I'm thinking if people want to pitch in and we go halvesies or we go quarter 1/16, maybe we can own a store. So what do y'all think?
First off, the fact that he's trying to retire at the age of 35, sir, I appreciate. I applaud that. First off, I mean for real, I'm about 10 years late. I think it's actually a pretty. I don't know about that price tag. That's very ambitious as well. But I mean, look, stores like this, if you can get retro gaming games that you can't find anywhere, like you were saying.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can get systems that games that will work, also
True.
retro games that will work, and the systems that will work. That's crazy. If they're able to work and you're able to play with them, and you can afford those things, it's great. You go into that store, running it. I wouldn't know how to run that, but I think it's a great idea. I wouldn't know how to I couldn't think of how to run a comic book shop, not a video game store, especially when that is more geared towards retro gaming.
Yeah.
It's more almost like a novelty, but you are going to get people who are going to come from all over to buy because they're like, oh, I haven't seen this or what have you, or I can't buy. Oh my God, I haven't seen this in like 10 years. I'm looking for this and this and this and what have you.
I would put it online. Like I would take his whole store
Yeah.
and just make it virtual. That way it's a virtual storefront.
Yeah.
And obviously we'd have to I say we because this is a whole business plan that we're doing now.
Right.
I would take pictures and video and walkthrough of the store virtually, but actually someone inventory manager, customer service manager, whatever. Like I would rather. I mean, for him being 35, I would hope that he had friends. Maybe not in Sacramento. I don't know how they do things out there, but. It would be nice if he had friends or people he could trust. That way it could just be, virtual. That way, it's a virtual storefront. And obviously we'd have to take, I say we because this is a whole business plan that we're doing now. moved into a virtual store. Because I mean, he had, of course, he has all these things physically, but I think that'd be a really good business plan. But again, if he just wants to retire and gets rid of all the games, then all right. But I would like to see what he got.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's the thing. Like, you can make it virtual, but I think the beauty of something like that, like a retro place, is going in and seeing the items too. I'm gonna be honest with you, almost like a museum aspect, but they're still working, but like that nostalgia aspect of seeing it.
I would say he should try like at least like doing a couple conventions or like like flea market type style things. Like if you have like this big storefront and if you want to like do like something a little bit small, I'm pretty sure like any place like local around him could have like those flea markets where like you buy a table for like maybe like $50 or $60 or whatever, and then just like bring a little bit of your inventory, but that also brings in like more people, and it's like, where else can I get more of this stuff? And then just like sell from there. And then like say if you want to try like bigger vendors, like bigger gaming conventions, like, hey, there are people that I've seen like where people bring in like retro games where it's like, hey, look, you could get like an N64 with like Pokemon Stadium and like Mario 64 all together for like maybe like $200 or whatever, because one is hard to find but people are willing to spend that money for it.
That was me at a video game con back in 2016. It was in Parsippany, Troy Hills, Parsippany, and I lost my mind. Like when I went in, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like I bought stuff that I hadn't seen in mad long. Well, that's why I bought, the Chrono Trigger and God knows a Xenogears. Like I bought mad stuff that I was like, "Oh my god!" I'd never thought I'd ever see this stuff in person, and for the price I got it for, y'all. So it's wonderful to bring back those. Those games that I know I would never have played otherwise as a child. Now that I got adult money, I can buy things. So I would love for him, like, I completely agree with you, Jabatron. And of course, Antonio, I agree with both of you. But I would love for him to do like a last, retro tour before he just packs it up and sells it all away. So,
and not even that, he can make even more money, especially now that games are now like more mainstream. And I mean like this within like from like movies. Because like imagine if like for example Mario, imagine Mario movie came out, like, hey, you want to go take it back to like the OG days, here's a NES, here's a Nintendo 64 with all the Mario games bundled together. Do you know how much that would go for?
Yep. And you don't have to pay Nintendo yearly to get the same nonsense. Like you could just get it and buy it and have it yourself.
That part. Yeah. It would be interesting. You know what? Let's see how it goes. Look, I'm crossing my fingers for you. You're very ambitious for that mill. I'm gonna be honest with you. Good luck.
Beaches, 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 beaches.
The version's still better.
Thank you, Jack Black. Thank you, Jack Black.
Still haven't seen the movie yet, but
But you know the song though.
But it's going to be on Peacock soon, just to FYI.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, probably check this week.
Okay, Peacock.
But also, you know what? I try to do this every week. Check the Hungry Bleak podcast of IG and Facebook, because I always try and put like, hey, this movie came up. And something that nobody knows, and like, oh my God, because so much comes out every week. It's hard to know. So if I see something like when Evil Dead Rise came out, I was like,
yes, thank you. I watched it.
This came out. Check this out. Please. Like when Knock at the Door came out, I check it every Thursday and Friday. Thursday I found out the days that they're really starting to put stuff out, and I'll check and I'll go, okay, cool, this came out. Like Dragon Ball Kai is on Hulu now. Yeah, I know that's probably dated and such like that and what have you, but I just decided to start rewatching because I never really finished Dragon Ball Z, and I was like, all right, let me try this out.
Same. So Kai, they censored it so much. Please just watch the OG.
Really? Oh, okay.
It's the same thing to me. Oh, exactly. Well, Kai gives you a little because it came out so much later. I don't know, some parts of it I kind of like because it shows like Goku and Raditz father, like in the very beginning, and he has like this premonition of seeing Kakarot. His mama named him Kakarot. I'm gonna call the boy Kakarot. Kakarot and Frieza face to face on Namek. And so I like little things like that, like little stuff like that. So for me, I'll
I mean,
watch it for like the first, I think 50 episodes. I'll watch it as like background filler. But then when Vegeta starts becoming more prominent, that's when I'll tune in because that's the character I'm really looking for.
That he was an awakening for me.
Vegeta's just
with
him,
his short self.
Hiei, and
He is. Yes.
the Blackwing King from Be the Beginning on Netflix. Those are three like characters I just think are the coolest possible.
Wait, what was it on Netflix? What is this?
Be the Beginning. It's only like
Oh, I seen it on my queue.
yeah. It's
Okay.
only like it's 2 seasons. I think maybe 20 episodes total, possibly.
Okay, I have to finish that.
And it was just quick. It was something. Yeah, it was something that I've been waiting for, and I finally got to watch it. And I was like, oh, I dig this. Easy ones.
You look good. The people, the man, them look good. Okay.
It's pretty. It's a little weird, but it's pretty cool. It's got great fight scenes.
Yeah.
So I kind of dig it.
I like that. Yeah, I don't know, something about that Vegeta. I don't know. I mean, I love his son Trunks. That's my go-to man. But something about Vegeta just had me in stitches for some reason. Like
Trunks is cool, but Vegeta just has that. Vegeta just the coolest character between him and Hiei. Hiei is just Hiei is awesome to me. There's a character on Bleach too, which is awesome. He uses ice. What the hell's his name?
Oh, I know you're
Captain.
talking.
Yeah, I can't remember his name. Captain. That's
Captain.
close. Why I left that door wide open for that joke. I seriously did you say Ice Captain?
Ice Capped. I'm googling it.
All right,
Ice
yeah.
Captain
All right.
Bleach.
Yeah. You know what? I meant to hit the damn mouse pad and I hit my phone because of that. What you just said, Ice Captain.
Lord.
I'm so aggravated right now.
Toshiro.
So next stuff up. Yeah,
Hidegaya.
I think that's his name. So next one up is last week we got the comic Creed, the next round.
This is good.
And I just saw the movie, the third one.
Yes. Well, I hadn't seen it yet. So I decided, okay, well, let me watch it. So I watched it, and the next day I read the comic. I'd already bought the comic because I wanted to see what it was about because it was interesting to me. And yes, on every level, this was so awesome.
Wow.
So, excuse me. First off, this is from Boom Studios. The creative director for this is actually Michael B. Jordan.
Okay. As he should.
What he's doing with this is he's kind of creating a universe. So he's got this, and I believe there's going to be an anime that's going to be coming out. Also, it's going to be in that Creed universe, that Creed Rocky universe.
I'm here for it.
The writers are Latoya Morgan, Jai Jameson. Artist is Wilton Santos. Color artist is DJ Chavez, and letterer is And World Design. Now, one of the things that are key about this is the fact the comic is set 10 years later. And one of the things it says is Amara Creed was born deaf, and her mother, Bianca, has completely lost her hearing before the events of this story. So what the Creed family, and it says that, and this is actually in the credits part, the Creed family uses a mix of BASL, Black American Sign Language, and lip reading to communicate with each other. Yes. Now I want to show you this now. So she's a fighter. Now, if you've seen Creed 3, you see that Amara is actually, she watches her father's fights. So she actually copies his moves, and she starts, and Adonis starts to show her how to box, the little things like that, and watching her. Now, one thing I want to point out is when you're looking at a comic book, you're used to the word bubbles coming from the mouth. If you look at the comic, when they're doing sign language, the word bubbles actually come from the hands.
I see.
That's good.
Very subtle nuance, but so very damn important. And that made me fall more in love with this comic. And I believe the movements that they're even doing with their hands are actual sign language. There's a scene. Yep. So now you can see between these two, even though Bianca has lost her hearing, she still reads lips. Mm-hmm. So you see here how they're communicating. You see the word bubbles are coming from their mouths.
Mm-hmm.
But then as you see them here, even when they're boxing, you see the words are coming from their hands. Such a subtle little nuance, but so incredibly important. And the fact that they actually, now there's something else as well. They actually want to give a special thanks to a Black American Sign Language consultant, Roxanne Dumet, who's an instructor in American Sign Language, Deaf Culture, and Deaf History at George Mason University's College of Education and Human Development. So they actually had someone who was a consultant a professional come
Black.
in and help with this comic.
Nice.
As they should.
Again, I'm always talking about representation, and when we think about representation, most times we think about skin color. Then we started thinking about gender. Then we started thinking about gender identity. Then we started thinking about sexuality, and that. But we don't really think about the differently able too much, especially not deaf or mute. Comics that have characters who are deaf or mute are interesting to me because of it's a different way that you can communicate with this medium. Because you have to go, okay, the character doesn't speak. How do I get this across?
Right.
So to do the word bubbles from the hands, again, it seems like something simple, and possibly it is, but it's such an important and subtle little nuance that makes this comic even better and can differentiate the two different conversations. Because you can have one conversation from the mouth, and you can have a totally different one from your hands. So you can be speaking to person A over here, but having another conversation with person B over here. Again, little nuance is great, and I absolutely love the. Now, here's a spoiler to the comic. It's been out for like a week, 2 weeks, but I'm gonna give you the spoiler. So Amara decides to go, and she wants to box. Her father told her she can't train right now. She got stopped, so she decides to go into this underground fight, and she gets into a fight with this guy, and they're going at it. Adonis hears about it from one of his trainers from the gym. Adonis goes there, stops the fight. Now, stops fight before she gets into a fight with this other fighter named Jamie Pierce, Slayer. If you are a Rocky fan, you'll get this kind of little nod right here. Jamie Pierce. If you look at the character, and if you can think of Rocky 3, Clubber Lang, this is definitely an homage to Clubber Lang, Mr. T, the mohawk, the earrings, everything.
Right. Okay.
Definitely felt it and loved it. All right. But there's even more. Even when they're having arguments, they're still doing it through this sign language. But there's another part. She wants to be trained. Adonis said he will not train her. So she goes to find another trainer. So she goes to the valley. This is all set in California as well. She goes to the valley, and she finds someone named Artemis Creed, her aunt.
Oh my God.
I'm trying to think of the movies and remember if I remember them ever talking about Adonis having a daughter. Excuse me,
a sister.
Apollo ever having a daughter. I don't remember.
No, wait. They did.
They probably did, but I haven't seen those movies in like years.
No, because I just got finished watching 3, like Creed 3. There is a scene where Adonis is talking to his mother, obviously, which is like, the wife of Apollo Creed, and he's like, "Yeah, I was there before your 2 kids could even do anything." So technically speaking, but then again, it doesn't make sense because in the first one, if I remember correctly, they're like, "Oh well, Adonis is kind of like the only heir to like the Creed franchise and stuff like that." So like it's weird. It's weird how it is. I'm gonna have to rewatch like the entire Creed franchise all over again, which I have no problem with because of like the aesthetic. But but I could like get back to you on that one. But I believe that they did mention in the third one that there is 2 kids by Apollo Creed.
Yeah, because he even says that this is that Adonis is her half brother. But the fact that she and her name is Artemis Creed, she was called the Butcher in the ring, and she has a record of 52-1-0.
Damn.
This is incredibly interesting to me. I love it. And she asks her, "I want you to," and she says to her, "I want you to train me." And you notice how she does it through the phone because I don't believe that Artemis knows sign language. From this panel, I'm surmising that she does not know sign language, which I think is awesome. It's great. I absolutely love the idea of this and bringing this character in. Someone expanding that Creed Rocky universe with another character. And if by some chance we get a live action movie and we go this route and we get to see Artemis, who would play her, it's just very interesting to me. So this was a comic that this was kind of an impulse buy, but I wanted to make sure that I saw the movie first. The movie came out, then the comic came out. I'm sure that was part of the plan. I absolutely loved it. Go and check this out. This is from Boom Studios. Again, this is Creed.
Go back. Is it too much of a stretch to say it was the last panel, bottom left, where she said, "Hey, Auntie"? It reminded me of Black Panther.
Yes.
I was like, is that a callback?
Another nod. Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes. I was like, she said, "Hey, Auntie." I was like,
that's another thing about Michael B. Jordan. I give him crap about certain things, like his voice acting in what was it? The anime series that he had, Genlock. His
Oh.
voice acting was not very good at it. I don't know if it was on purpose or just in joke, but it just wasn't very good.
Mm-hmm.
But little nods like this, he knows the fan base. He knows that you're all paying attention. He knows that you're looking. So doing things like this definitely matters. So that hey auntie, yes, that was very good catch. That was definitely part of it. Again, that's another little nuance. I
Have to
really
watch
enjoyed
Creed.
this comic. I read it and I was like, damn, okay, yeah. Loved it. So yeah, get this Creed. The next round, I think it's gonna be 4 issues.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be a limited series or if it's going to be an ongoing. I'm not sure, but whichever way it goes, definitely one to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just turning off these alarms because, oh my god.
So next one up is we've got the Chan one.
Oh snap!
Yes. So Anime Expo has been going on for the past couple of days, and it's been very, very hectic for safety reasons, as you can see within the picture.
Oh my god,
Yeah, massive.
that's soup.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's COVID right there.
Yep.
That's go Feifei.
Yep. So apparently, as as the summer begins, is now everybody wants to be outside, going to conventions. Anime Expo really exceeded their limitations of capacity. Mind you, this is only the bottom floor. There are still people trying to come up to the second floor. Yes, I know. If you actually scroll down into the article, I believe somebody was showing it on their TikTok. Yep, that one right there.
Oh my god.
Oh,
yep. And that's just people just getting in. That's not even them on the show floor.
Ah, that's too much. That's too much nerddom.
My anxiety is
on
13 right now.
I would be sweating bullets not because of the heat, just because I would just be so tense.
There's too many white folks dressed up in costume.
But see, here's the thing I want to throw
right
because of this reason why.
Too much.
We as a nerd culture are starting to become the new fandom. Like we're starting to become like the new it thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, as you see here, is like how many people are really trying to go there just like for the experience, or how many people are just going there just for clout? Is what I want to discuss in this article, in this segment, because I know, everybody's like, oh, I'm going because I'm a fan of such and such. It was like, are you really? Whereas like I'm going for this, or I'm going just like to get likes and views and stuff like that.
I could do this for like 2 days. This conversation. Because I've had this conversation. I'm gonna let Joy go because
No, I feel like we've had this conversation too, where in one sense, we've never wanted our fandom and our interests to be gatekept. So we're like, all right, well, we like these things, and I'm happy that you know it, and that's great. But now we have people that, like you said, are we now going to maybe turn into the gatekeepers because we're like, do you really like this stuff, or do you just here because you know it's TikTok and it's going to be popular? So it's like, well, you can't keep everybody out of the expo, but my God, we have to expand this. You have to have expo space, and then you have to have like outside space or something. Like you just can't.
Oh, if you look through the window, they're outside.
Oh
if you look through the window in the picture, they're outside.
That needs to be.
So technically, like I don't know the exact name of this expo center that's in LA, but like they already hit like their max capacity. But I blame the Anime Expo, like the I'm gonna say forerunners. I don't know the exact name for like the people that host these events. They should have limited to like the time, like how many tickets are being sold. Whether it's like like their 3-day like or 5-day passes, like the weekends versus like to Saturday and Sundays, where it's like they should only have a certain amount, because you figure not only you're filling it in for the attendees, you also have the vendors, and if vendors need like 2 or 3 people like to help set up and like mind the tables. You also have to deal with the panelists, because panelists will come in. Sometimes they have like a little mini entourage for themselves, which is about like 2 or 3 people. Then you also got the guests that are coming in, and the guests already have their own entourage in general.
And also volunteers, like anybody who's working
or the volunteering is what
the usual employees that might be at the convention. Like I don't know how that exactly works, but people who just are at the convention center who work at the actual convention center, not the conference center.
Girl, If this is the amount of people at the con, there need to be paid people. There can't be no volunteer nonsense no more. For all of this, you need to be paid. And I can't even imagine how much money they made just off of that. With the amount of bodies that are in that building, everybody should have got money. Cut the check. Stop playing with me. No, you're a volunteer. No, I'm not. I was paid hourly on the clock for this because that's disgusting. You're putting yourself at risk. And like, I know they exceeded building capacity. I know.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
Like they had to get the fire marshals out there for like, you know, because it was like over cap for all this stuff.
That's disgusting. I just and again, even I know I had been feeling it with, you know, New York Comic Con. That was already enough where I was like, all right, there's just too many people in here.
But I think at this point it's like it should be to where like, okay, yes, that like the nerd culture is, I'm gonna say it's 80% true people and the 20% are just like, you know, the fakes and wannabes. I'm just saying that's just my opinion. But I feel like any convention, they should only hold a certain amount of tickets. Whereas like, okay, if we're gonna have like the VIPs, make the VIPs maybe only be about like 200 tickets. You'll get your money out of it because they'll go by fast. And if you want to do like your weekday passes, do weekdays like, you know, between like 300 some change. Like say you'll still get a turnaround because once you do like those main ticket sellings from like the VIPs to like the weekends, and then you have the individual ones, you'll get people to come. So like say you'll have enough people to come in general. It doesn't need to be packed like that because even nobody's not gonna be smelling like butt. and like you don't want nobody passing out due like, you know, the heat stroke and like, you know, or like, you know, not being able to breathe because that'll just be nuts.
Yeah. I don't know.
All right, this is my thing here. Yeah, I do believe as far as a gatekeeping, which is what I was definitely thinking about. I don't think that we can really say. I mean, and there are going to be people who are there for clout and for numbers and likes because that's where our society has gone. That's the new monetary system. Thank you, Black Mirror. Let's be real.
I mean, it's true.
And that's where we're at. But you're also going to get some people who are genuine fans of everything. And then you're going to get some people who don't know anything about it, but they want to become a fan. They're new to everything. It's you can't gatekeep and try to weed people out like that. You just can't. That's like saying with sometimes I like the fact that New York Comic Con has something that's called fan verification. Even though I know what it is, it's fan verification. Like it's almost like saying, "Oh, are you a fan?" There are people who are getting in who are not fans of stuff. Where there are people who are definitely fans, you can tell, and they're not getting in. That's a slippery slope that's been lit on fire. So to go through that weeding thing is very difficult, and it would be gatekeeping, which is what we've been against this whole time because we've been the ones outside, and we've been so inclusive because it is the geek has become that thing that new, and we're not going anywhere. This is why you'll see all these comic book based things out there. That aside, just for the humanity and just for the safety of people, that is disgusting. And I don't just mean like the being over capacity. I don't just mean illness wise, as far as COVID. But if there's a fire, if there's an accident, something like that happens, those people are not getting out. People will be trampled alive. We've seen it at concerts. They will be trampled, and someone will be getting hurt. Children will even be getting hurt. And I think on the fact of people, you know, we have like that. It's very unsafe for cosplayers. I'm going to say why. We've had situations at cons where people have been assaulted, where people have been groped, where people have been touched who did not want to be touched. And you have a situation like that where some people in the community who are predators.
Yes.
Some of your favorite creatives are predators. We've seen that.
Yep.
And that's real. Don't forget, Me Too is still a thing. Just because our memories are like goldfish doesn't mean that something has stopped. It hasn't. But you have people in there who could possibly assault someone, hurt someone. You know what I mean? So just for being humans and being safe, physically and illness wise, but also mental health. That is anxiety inducing. Looking at that,
Yeah.
that is anxiety inducing on 13.
Made me nervous. Oh gosh.
Yeah, just waiting through that, you're paying all that money, and now all that's happening. And again, like you were saying, even though I believe it's gotten better from the cons that I've been to, the last 5 years, I want to say hygiene has gotten better. I've seen where there have been panels on hygiene, but still, the hygiene at times is not where it should be. People are not taking the precautions. Bring wipes. There's nothing wrong with bringing wipes with you.
Mm-hmm.
You can call them baby wipes, adult wipes. I don't care as long as they do the main function, which is wipe. I do not care.
Right.
Backup deodorant. There's nothing wrong with that. We all need to touch up every so often.
Mm-hmm.
Touch it up. I don't care if it's spray,
Sweating.
if it's roll on, if it's powder, if it's clear. I don't care what it is. Touch it up. Things like that. Carry a little bottle of mouthwash on the bathroom. Swish it around a little bit. Let it marinate. Spit it out. Something like that. These are things I'm thinking about. So the gatekeeping part aside, and people not being fans, whatever, that whole, because that's a whole that's a quagmire. But as far as the safety, that's my biggest concern. The safety of the attendees, of the vendors, of the people that work there, cosplayers, especially a female and female presenting cosplayers. The safety of them. That's my big concern. So I would be furious. I would be surprised if I didn't see lawsuits coming from this, truthfully.
I feel like they probably are, because like I said, like as we saw in the photos, like it's like overwhelmingly like flooding with people. It looks like a zombie horde of people. And like you said, it's like, and I think when I was looking at one of the TikTok videos, and there's like the escalator stopped working.
Oh god.
Yeah. The escalator stopped working, so people
because
were
of like
actually
weight friction, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was like a lot of stuff not going right. And like you were saying, it is the event runner, correspondent, whatever the term is. It is there. Whoever's running it, you need to get on this quickly and sort this out. Get ahead of this, because that's disgusting. It is horrible.
Because like even though your capacity, you said like for like let's say like 7,000 people, you have to still include, like we said before, the people that are within the vicinity, the cleanup crew, and then you got to think about the people that are hosting the event. So you got to think about your people as well, versus like let alone other vendors for like artist alleys and other people that want to sell stuff, and then you got to worry about the guest, and then you got to worry about your people, your attendees are coming in. So it's like, if you're gonna do it that way, doing the math, I would say from capacity of 7,000, you guys should at least make it down to like maybe like only have like 4,500 people, so 4,500 people in there to be safe.
This is something that I would like for us to follow up on this, to see where this goes, truthfully, because I feel like cons are trying to make up for the time that they lost events, and this is why things are costing more. Sometimes they're being a little more stingy with who gets in, but then they're trying to make a balance for it. And I feel that there's there's going to be a breaking point, where people are going to be like, this is why I like something, and I'm not trying, this isn't a plug or anything. This is why I like something like Virtuous Con, because it's virtual. I like it. It's easy. You can go right there. You can still conversate with people. I can understand why. This is why there will still be a place for virtual events, because of something like this. If I look at that and then I look at Virtuous Con, I'm going to Virtuous Con.
Safer.
Easily.
Oh, gosh.
But we'll definitely follow up on this, because I want to see what happens with this, because that's it. It's just weird for me.
That's a lot.
Next up is for Joy to the World.
So in what can we blame video games for next news?
Oh, that train's never late. Okay, go ahead.
Never late. It'll always be on time. So France. I don't know if France is trying to be like, let's cosplay as America real quick, because it's getting crazy. They are having riots for plenty of things right now. And the French president, Emmanuel Macron idiot right now, is saying that his people are rioting. They're rioting. Obviously, there was a shooting, and unfortunately, there was a shooting. But he blames TikTok. He blames Snapchat. He blames social media, and he blames video games. A story that I felt like, oh, this came out. It had to be like a couple years ago. No. This was recent. So I was just like, wow, man. Out of all the things, video games will be minding their own business. And yes, video games are violent. Let's get yes. Not every video game. Obviously, they're gonna talk about the Call of Duty. Obviously, gonna talk about all the different the Grand Theft Auto. And yes, we're gonna talk about all the things that video games have guns in them. Absolutely, sure. Let's not blame actual guns, though. Let's not blame people that buy guns legally. Let's not blame people that create their own guns and create their own bombs and create their own threats and create their own massive hysteria. No. Don't blame that. Clearly, it's the video games. Clearly, these people have tons of time on their hands. They're just fiddling around like, you know what? Oh, controller. Oh, no. They're thinking evil thoughts. Of course, these video games are clearly allowing people to make manifestos and going out on planes and paying a bunch of money and just doing inappropriate, violent things. So I felt angry, but also I love the fact that, again, we have science to back up that it's not just, oh, video games are violent, ergo people are violent. No, there's no correlation. There will continuously be no correlation between someone who has evil, intense thoughts to want to go forth and do evil things versus, oh, I played case in point, I played Gungrave today. Did I think ever in the 3 hours I had streamed that game, mostly, did I ever think about, oh, you know what I should do? Go outside and do something about it? No. I played the game. I did some pew pew. I loved it dearly. I missed it. On virtual console, I missed it to be at my own home and to do some pew pew and to do some sweet moves. That's all I've wanted. Now, I know everyone's not like me, and that's a godsend. No one needs to be like me but me. But for the government, for this fool out here, this man, the garbage waste over here, talking about some video games are evil. Sir, please take a seat. Take all the seats. Really. America, I don't know why you're trying to emulate America so bad. You should, I don't know, listen to your actual people. Listen to the citizens of France to realize why the heck they're revolting. It could be that someone died. It could be the Africans are treated horribly. It could be that you're trying to take away people's rights to retire, literally trying to retire later in life. Maybe, I don't know, it's the way the government's set up. Let's just think about why the people are revolting versus, you know what? TikTok, I don't control that. Snapchat, that's a problem.
It's a scapegoat. They're trying, like you said, they're trying to cover up for other things instead of it. Because I know exactly where it is, where France is rioting because the government doesn't want them to retire at an early age and they want them to work even longer.
Which is insane. Now, this one in particular, when they said that there was a 17-year-old delivery driver, he was not, he was of Arab background, which I'm going to say, quote unquote, Middle East, but also, they have done a lot of stuff to Africa. There's a lot of citizens over there that have been, that are refugees and otherwise born and raised in France. France got some problems. Not to say any country's perfect, but the way they treat their citizens in one way is different versus other people. Because, case in point, I loved, Pharrell Williams, the whole fashion show over there. Like, I loved that there were so many black celebrities over there. Like, when I know I heard this line, but when they said N-words in Paris, like, it's right. Like, there are people that really enjoy black people over there. Nina Simone ran over there. Like, she couldn't be respected here in America, so she ran over to Paris. She went over to France. So there are good times, not like the TV show, but there are times where people can find peace. But in France, I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, and I just really don't want them to emulate how. We've had a head start in terms of how we've just let guns go out of control, and we're letting media and all of these things rule us. But now I really don't think he has a solution. It's just like, well, this is it. And it brings me back to, and I'll finish what I'm saying. It brings me back to when I took the SATs. Either it was the SATs or whatever it is that you do to get out of high school. I forgot the test. But I wrote a whole essay about why video games should never be the reasoning for violence. Like they had a whole test question about it. I wrote a whole, I mean, it could have been a book. I really wish I can get that question and my answers back. I wish I could have, taken pictures or whatever, or I had, photographic memory. But that was like 2000, early 2000s. I did that. And here we are in 2023, still being, I just hate that video games always get a bad rap. And it's just like, come on, just take accountability. Your citizens are upset. Instead of you actually listening to them and figuring out what to do, you're just like, video games, though. Wah, wah, wah.
It's the face.
I'm gonna say this real quick. Yeah. I'm gonna say this. This is a
no lip having.
This is the face that you make when it's hey boomer. Here's the thing. Politicians have done this for the longest time, especially now. There's always something that they want to blame for social uprising and upheavals. At one time, it was music. Another time, it was the movies. It was the video games. Now it's social media. It's whatever the pop culture thing is at that time. There will always be that. Politicians will always do this. There's something they'll never actually want to get to. Like was said, like Job said, they'll never want to get to the root of what's actually causing the upheaval and the uprising in the people. They would rather just say, oh, no, it's this. It's not that. That is just a medium for what people are conveying is wrong with the society. Just like with music, just like with movies, it is their medium to express what is happening to them. It is a reflection. It is a reflection. NWA said it. It is a reflection of what is happening in their spaces, in their neighborhoods, in their culture, in their area, on their block, in their house. It's a reflection. And they never want to hear that part of it. It is a tragedy that happened, and you choose at this time, a tragedy is happening in your country where you are the president. You are choosing to blame social media. Hey, boomer, look, I'm 45. Hey. So if someone was to like say, hey, boomer to me, I'd go, okay, cool, whatever. Because it would, if I was saying something like this, that would be the proper response. I don't know why you're choosing to go this route, possibly because you just don't want to see what's actually happening in the country that you are a politician, that you are supposed to be helping. This is a disgusting thing that you are using such a trivial thing to link to a tragedy that is happening, that is part of an even larger tragedy. It is a disgusting thing. Video games, social media, even though I may not like social media, I have my own bones to gripe with, my own bones to pick with social media. But even though I may not, like it, but I will say video games, the music, the movies, the series, social media, they are, again, mediums, ways to escape, ways to make someone else laugh, maybe ways to make a little extra money, what have you. But they are not going to be the reason why your country, your empire, your nation, whatever it is, falls. There is an underlying thing. There is an infection, there is some type of infection that is happening. And the other stuff is just a symptom of it. That root is the problem.
Absolutely.
So sit, stop, think, but then you won't, because you don't actually care, because you just want more people to work so you can continue to do whatever you're doing and get more money, because that's what matters. And that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, my last little rhetoric for that is that I would say in general, government, I'm gonna say governments like around the world, so I'm not gonna like exclude just like, from America to like, France. Governments around the world are now I want to say a more high alert, where like they have to be cautious of what they say, because social media will get to everybody like that.
Yep.
It's like, instead of you having to wait for like the news to like, announce something that happened, for like, any type of political person to actually make a statement, they'd be like, oh, I found that out like 20 minutes ago. How? Internet, as like Timmy Turner would say in Fairly Odd Parents. Where'd you get that? Internet. So it's like, even if it's not true, like 90% of the time, but it's like you hear it quicker through social media, sadly to say, versus like, when it actually happens on like national news.
Yeah.
Like
A
I
lot
can tell you, like how many times where unfortunately I found out from like, certain celebrities passing through social media quicker before I check CNN.
Oh, Twitter's the first place I go.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that real? Shoot.
Yeah, you're totally right. They'll announce it before. We'll share it about an hour before the news will say, "Oh, this person passed. This happened. What have you?"
Mhm.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true.
Yeah.
So on that note, look, I, I, I'm gonna say this really quick because we only have a few minutes. I think last episode and now this episode are probably tied as far as my favorite ones. And let me tell you right really quick, because of Jabba and because of Joy. When I started this show, I said I want these voices on here because they're important, because they have a lot to say, and they're not getting the opportunity that they should to be able to say that, because everything else has been more of a boys' club and they're just inviting their friends over who have the same exact opinions of them. So they have the most boring, homogenous shows possible where they're not actually saying anything or doing anything except big upping each other. The conversation that you both had about E3 was one of the most insightful and one of the most informative conversations I've heard as far as being E3. When it comes to video games, anime, and novels, I listen to Black women because they are not forms that I am as familiar with anymore. So listening to the two of you speak on video games, which is one of the reasons why I asked you to be on this, is because you have very informed opinions from being streamers, from being gamers, whether it's the big games or the indie games. That was very important. So what I would recommend for more people to do is, if you're going to have forum shows like this where you were giving out the news and you were giving out updates or what have you, you need to have more of a diverse, you need to have more of a realistic panel of people on your shows. You need to have panels with people who you identify differently than. If you're a black man, you only have black cis men, your show is going to be one of the most boring damn things possible, but you will continue to get big ups because all of your boys will watch the show for no apparent reason, even though it is boring as all hell and they are all saying the same thing. Folks, I think they said it best. Wu-Tang, you got to diversify your bonds. Okay, and that's all I'm going to say, because look, this hand of mine is burning red and it's loud roar.
Yeah!
Get in on it.
Yes.
The DVD.
Look, this is what I do. This is what I do. I have all three of the box set. Come on now, you already know who it is. Folks, thank you so very much once again for joining us. And yes, we got off on a bit of a tangent. We had a bit of a rant, but look, this is what's going to happen at times. We're going to have stories that are going to be in the geek culture, but that are going to spread all throughout everything else. So stay tuned, because we're going to keep doing this. We're going to take a little bit of a break, but we will be back a little later on, and we will be giving you some more of what we do, and it will be even better. So on that note, folks, I am Antonio Pomares of the Hungry Bleak podcast, and this has been...
This is your girl Jabba Chin. Nice talking to y'all.
And this has been...
Joy Infinity. Follow me on all the things, including Spill, because forget Twitter at this point.
Yes. So, no more crying over spilled milk. Folks, look, this has been the show. Thank you so very much. We will see you later on. And remember, leave it better than you found it. That saying, I think, hits even more on this particular episode. You have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your day.